Well, welcome. Wait a second. Oh, welcome back. We're back. Episode 3. You're welcome. Say hi, Jonathan, to YouTube Blab. You won't hear this on the podcast. This is the babble you won't hear. The babble on Blab. The Blabians. Okay, quiet for a second. Welcome to WP-Tonic. Welcome to WP-Tonic, episode 65, WordPress Speed Machine, part 3. And this is going to be about plugins today, and it's really nice. We're going to invite some folks in. We hope to get more and more WordPress people who are experts. You know, Jonathan, I think we need to set a standard time each week to do this show. What do you think? And we'll get more folks in.
Yeah, sure.
If we can figure it out. I like Tuesday. Tuesday's my magic day.
Oh, I just want to, yeah. So,
we're all tired.
This drive on. We're gonna talk about some plugins, but let's just finish off.
What's a plugin?
Yeah, what is a plugin? Just finish off on a couple of things that can affect your speed from the last episode, and one thing that really makes a big difference, but it can be a two-edged sword, is CDNs. What is a CDN? Well, basically, where your website is hosted, it's hosted on some big server in a server center.
I've got a server in my house. It's not real big.
There we go. And basically, people from all over the world have to get to that server. And even though it's almost done at the speed of light, if they're halfway around the world, let's say they're in Australia, there's going to be a delay. What CDNs is, they take a copy of your website and they put it in a server nearer to that person in Australia. That is the it's a lot more complicated than that, but that's the basic theory. The one that, there's a number, even, you've been playing with it, haven't you? Amazon.
Cloudflare. Amazon has 3 too. Yeah. I use Cloudflare. Amazon
provides their own, but the one that I've been working with is Cloudflare, and their free version is pretty impressive. And they do a paid version. They do 3 levels basically. The paid version is $20. I'm using the free version, but here's a little bit of advice. When you're setting it up, you have to go to where your domain is parked, and then you change the DNS records. That's really quite easy. And then CloudHost will scan everything, and it does it really good job of that. But there's some other adjustments that you've got to go in and do, and a lot of people just rely on the automated settings, and that can be a problem, and you definitely won't get the full benefit. The good news is that they provide a lot of help, really good help information, and there's a lot of information in Google about how to set it up. It is a little bit contradictory, but you can. It took me a little bit of time to set it up properly, but it's made a big difference.
So what did you do to set up Cloudflare on the auto settings?
I'm not going to go into enormous detail here, but there's just some settings where it purges the cache, and you have to do some adjustments there.
Okay. I got you. I know I like Cloudflare, though. I've been flipping it on my sites. So if you go, keep on going. So you've got mailright.com. Mailright.com, is that on Cloudflare?
I've just put WP-Tonic. Obviously, I've got to do a bit more work on that. So that's
is Mailright on it right now?
Yeah, both, but just recently.
Plus your VPN. Mailright's very fast now.
One of the other factors I've got to point out, when you first put it on and you don't do, there's some star wildcard symbols you have to put in. You have to make sure that your login page is not cached because if I set it up and I forgot, and it stops you from logging into the back end of your own site. So you got to watch out for that. That caused a little bit of a heart attack until I realised what was going on.
Now you're using OnePass. Does that affect it at all? I use LastPass. I never had that problem.
That was to do with the caching, Bill.
Okay.
So the other thing that I want to quickly talk about is JavaScript and CSS, and this is another thing that really slows the site down. Unfortunately, it's an area that even a lot of plugin providers is not so much. It is a quantity issue. It's a quantity issue because the more plugins you have, the more you can have a rogue plugin. Yep. It's more to do with quality of coding. And one area where a lot of plugins fell on less experienced plugin developer is the use of JavaScript. And basically, WordPress comes with a version of jQuery. And if you can get a lot of people who are very experienced in PHP, but they're not that experienced in WordPress, and they don't know how to call the jQuery library that's inbuilt into WordPress. And there's some other factors as well. So they can call external libraries. And this also affects text because you used to be very limited about the fonts you could use apart in images. But now with external font farms, which Google provides a free font farm, but there's a couple, Adobe provides one, but that's paid. But unfortunately, you can have a lot of plugins that are calling from separate font farms and also separate versions of jQuery and their own version of CSS. These queries soon can build up and you can end up with a real jumble of a mess. And you want your the other factor that most people don't realize is jQuery. If your page is waiting for all of jQuery, nothing else is going to load. This is why you get a page hanging for a long time on sites that are not being set up correctly because they're waiting for all the jQuery to load. And then what you want is the jQuery, if it can be done, to be loaded in the footer area. So all the images and a lot of the text is loading, and then the jQuery is loaded.
Yeah, so people stay there so they see it right away.
Well, they're seeing something happening rather than just a white screen, basically.
Right.
So they're the twins. So let's go on to some plugins that might help. I just want to point out that some of these plugins you must not use unless you've got a total backup of your website.
Now Jonathan, quick question. I have the notes up right now.
Yep.
And I don't see a lot of plugins in here. I must have got the old version here.
I did text you saying there was an updated version in Slack.
I know. I was okay. I'll pull it from Slack. Go on. Drive on.
We're
halfway done today.
So basically, do not do some of these plugins, unless you've got a total backup of your website. So I really can't stress that. First of all, caching plugins. There are a couple that are really popular. The two that one I use all the time, and the other one has become very recently extremely popular. The one I use is Zencash. I use the Premier. They do offer a free version that has most of the key functionality, but I pay for the Pro version. And I was fathered in. It was called, I forgot what it was called. It changed name about 6 months ago, and I got grandfathered in. So I got a multi-site license.
Nice.
But basically, Zencash is extremely powerful. Andy, this is the caching plugin that Andy recommends to his clients, and you can just put it in, and the normal settings do a great job. but you also got the power of considerable customization, and they do provide a lot of good documentation, and it plays really well with Cloudflare. So caching is really important. It's a pain as well, but when you got your site really sorted out, having a good Cloudflare and having a really good caching plugin will make a big difference to the performance of your website. Another one that's become very popular is WP Rocket.
Got a question on that. Thank you out there.
That's become very popular. I haven't used it. I don't think they do a free version. The one site license is around $39. It looks pretty sweet though, and it's got a lot of really good reviews.
It does look nice.
So they've had 26,000 people download it in less than a year. They've become a very successful company. I think they're making a gross sales of $30,000 a month. So nice. That's great. On to the images. I think as a temporary, I think even if you're optimizing them yourself, I think probably using a plugin that also does some optimization as well isn't a bad idea. WP Smash was really popular, but they were using a third-party service as part of the plugin, and I think it was Yahoo. They were using some of Yahoo's services, and Yahoo decided to turn off those servers. And WP Smash was totally they were using a paid service. They found a replacement for Yahoo, and they do offer a free version and a paid version, and so WP Smash is back in being popular. Another one I've used is EWW Image Optimizer. That does a similar job and also a nice job. I think doing some, especially on your home page and some of the key landing pages, doing some optimization yourself is probably a really good idea, and then probably using one of these plugins for the less crucial pages, maybe, because depending on the size of your website and how many images you got, hand optimizing everything could become a bit of a nightmare, Bill. Depending,
I'm still doing that, hand optimizing at least all my graphics and pictures with the Illustrator.
Right.
And also just getting them down to 72 DPI at whatever sizes we need them.
It does also quickly depend if you're dealing with photographs. Normally, JPEG optimization is the best format to use your images, or PNG if you need a background, transparent background. GIFs are normally better for very plain graphics, lettering, vector art. They don't really handle images that well. So having some fundamental understanding of the different graphics and what format suits images is quite useful. Photoshop does a pretty good job. I still use Fireworks because I think it's one of the most easiest and powerful tools for optimizing imaging, but that's my personal opinion. Now, on to some real danger here.
Quick question before we go into the danger zone, which will be the end of the show. We'll blow up. Quick question on just a thought process here. At our level, when I'm working with folks who are podcasters, bloggers, sometimes just getting into WordPress, trying to get them set up, making sure their mail client set up. And one question I'm telling them now, when they go in and set up their code to build a graphics, just open up a page, drop in the graphic, and then go on the back side and drop in your links, and then open up your text and pull the code, stick it on to wherever you're going to put it.
All right.
Is that how you do it? Is that giving any problems in optimization? doing
I
that?
didn't follow you actually. To be true.
You drop when you make, for example, if you're linking, let's say you're putting in a picture, right? You're dropping a picture in without dropping in your picture, but I mean, you're trying to make some code like for a widget. You're making some widget code,
Right.
So on a text block, so you open a page up, you drop in your graphic. It's all hopefully optimized, and then you're linking it at that time to your wherever you're linking it to.
Yeah.
Now you're putting the text up. Now you're saving the code, and you drop it in your widget. Any optimization issues there?
Just apart from the image, the image will probably be in your media library. What I'm saying is that what a lot of people do is they mess around with the sizing when they're actually working in WordPress. So they normally upload a slightly larger image, because obviously if it's smaller and they're pushing out, it will pixelate if it's not a vector image, and
yeah, I always try to make it the size I want it to show up.
Well, yeah, that's great, but normally you do mess around. What normally happens is you got especially beginners, learners, they've got really quite large images, and then they crop them down. But what they don't realise is the actual image size is dependent on the original file.
Yep, I totally understand what you're saying. That's good to understand. I did that mistake when I started.
That's why you need to go. We've all done it. We're all in a rush, and client. But you need to go. Right. You need to go, especially on crucial landing pages on the home page. You need to go in, and especially the kind of designs and the demands of clients for the kind of websites they're looking for. They are extremely image heavy, so a lot of them are, and it will turn a site into treacle on a mobile device, Bill.
Right. So now just one.
Can we
finishing up?
Can we go on to the danger?
One last thing on widgets. Widgets can slow down your site too. So on your widget, what's good practice with a widget with optics, with graphics?
It's just the size, isn't it? Optimization
just make
sure. Size,
Yeah.
The other factor that really slows down a lot of sites, you got to be, is plugins around social media when they're calling in an external API, and you've got a lot of different social media icons everywhere, which is, understandable. But these, in my experience, a lot of these social media plugins are resource hogs, and when you do your page testing, using those tools that we recommended, they normally are highlighted as some of the worst offenders. That was another thing I forgot to mention in the last show. To find out real rogue plugins, there's a plugin called P3 Profile. That will show which plugins are really taking up a lot of resources. Unfortunately, I found that it works perfectly, but it normally highlights like a membership plugin or some crucial plugin that you can't remove anyway. The other thing is don't unactivate it after you used it, because it's a tremendous resource hog in its own right. So do not leave it armed. Another factor that can...
That's a good point about deactivating the plugins you're not using, right?
Well, going further, actually.
Or taking them out altogether.
Yeah. If you... that's why it's good to have a test site, because, you do not... If you're not going to use a plugin, remove it. Remove it for security reasons, but also remove it for performance, because it's actually... It can be deactivated, but a lot of the code is still being loaded in the header of the website, and especially if it's calling external front library or a jQuery library, it could still be doing that, and it will slow your site down to treacle again. So if you're not using a plugin, get rid of it.
Right. And we've been doing the show like for almost a year and a half now. I remember giving you a hard time about all the plugins you have on your websites.
Oh, well, compared to, but it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
So,
I'm
7 to 9.
It's what? I thought you said 79 plugins. I'm not
7 or 9. You have like 30 plugins, right? most of your sites?
I think that's pretty calm, actually. I think it's
I know.
when you get into over 50. Now, I've had some clients that have had over 100 plugins,
That's nuts.
but that was a big e-commerce website. And when you're working with WooCommerce, that's one of the factors of working with WooCommerce. It's their, how they make money, because WooCommerce is free, but they a lot of the functionality you've got to buy in external third-party plugins. I call them micro plugins, and it's really
right. That's how they make their money.
And it's
That's how
really
WooCommerce makes all their money.
easy on a WooCommerce website to have 20 plugins just related to functionality of the shopping cart.
Okay, that said, folks, now I've been playing around with this, and I think it does work. Why don't you just build your nice little skin or something for your WooCommerce site and just put a tab up there, so you open up this tab, it opens up another WordPress site. And that's why you don't have to bog down.
Oh, yes, I should do that. It's up to me.
That's what I've been doing. Everyone go to podcastershome.com. That's what I'm doing now, and start hitting the tabs. You go to New Media Gold. You go to Timelines of Success. You get everywhere.
Another quick thing is, especially when you're using that Google speed checking tool, it's got something about remove query stream from static resources. And I'm not going to go into, basically, it's a way that external resources like CSS files and jQuery is handled by WordPress. And WordPress has a kind of global function, how it loads this. And Google speed checking tool really, really doesn't like that. And it's the first.
Go back and start over again. What is this?
It's called query stream from static resources. When you use this Google speed tool, the first thing it puts in red always is this. The good news is that almost 90% of cases there's a plugin. There's about 3 plugins, but there's one that's particularly popular, and you put it in, you activate it, and it keeps Google happy. And when you go back into the speed tool, that particular issue is removed.
I Googled that, and I got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Google.
Now, the real danger stuff is when you're dealing with the database, and like if you start messing around with the database, for God's sake, have a total backup, because WP DP Manager and WP Optimizer are 2 really popular. This normally occurs when you're uninstalling loads of plugins, which really you should do on a test site anyway. You don't really want to be installing, but it does happen. It's happened on my SaaS, but it's been a year-long project.
Your SaaS is really looking good now, Jonathan.
It's coming.
Amazing.
It's coming on.
Folks, those listeners out there who are live right now, it was terrible. Like, they're so big and so bulky. You worked hard on it, though. But you worked on the programming and design. Yeah. You had a lot of cleaning up to do.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
Basically, what happens is, if you install a load of plugins and uninstall them, and you uninstalling them because they're a bit dicey, they become, the bits of dogs. You found out it's a real dog of a plugin. It's like, in my experience, that means also they're probably not coded very well. And when you remove a really badly coded plugin, it's a sign that the developer hasn't really worked out the removal scripts. So these really doggy plugins normally leave a load of rubbish in your database. So you've been hammered twice. They slow down your website to treacle, and then when you try and remove them, they leave a load of trash in your database. So you've been hammered twice. So when this happens a few times, you find that your database gets a bit bogged down with a load of queries that it's been queried, your database, but the reason for that query no longer exists. So you need to clean that out. So these do a pretty good job, but like I say, you don't want to use either of these 2 unless you've got a real backup, because it can just destroy your database, Bill.
Right.
right?
Yep.
And the last thing is Google Webfront Optimizer. I don't use this myself. I haven't used it, but I put it as part because it deals. You get a lot of plugins that are calling external font, and the most popular is Google because it's free. So if you get a plugin and he wants to use for some reason some external font for control, for whatever reason, he or she is most likely going to call Google because it's free. Well, but if you get a load of plugins and they're all calling it, they're all separate calls to Google Font Library. Well, this can really slow your website to treacle as well. This thing takes all these separate front calls and just makes one. But I don't know how. I got a feeling this is the type of plugin that either works really well or it would take your whole website down. So I just got that feeling. If I haven't even used it, so I would suggest that you use something like this. You have a total backup.
Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned WP Optimizer, right?
Yeah, that's one of the database cleaners. Yeah,
WP Optimizer. I use that. I love it. It really cleans up stuff.
Yeah, but you do have a backup before you use it, don't you?
Yeah, but I out of my 14 sites, I had 2 go down.
14 websites.
2 went down last month because of that, but I figured out what the problem was.
You're crazy.
I fixed them right away, though.
You are.
I recovered them right away.
Good job, really, isn't it? Well, yeah. I think that's...
Because the month before, we just had the whole month before was about backup. Thank goodness.
Oh, yeah. But I think it's all a balance, really. I'm preaching stuff that I haven't really. When I look back at MailRite, I've got some more work to do. WP-Tonic. One of the problems with WP-Tonic was I was recommended the theme, and it's a great theme, and I was recommended it. I was recommended by.
We should have gone to Genesis.
I was recommended it by. Pippin Williamson and
it's WP-Tonic, folks.
And I've hacked away at it a bit, and I just need to do a bit of optimizing on it.
You got that because you wanted to have this cool podcast, and I've been doing podcasting for a long time. I'd say just all the top podcasters go Genesis, period. Yeah, they all, 90% of the very top podcasters are using Genesis for framework. Either a theme or they're doing dynamics. I like dynamics.
Let's talk to the experts, see what she reckoned.
Kim is back to finish up our show. And Kim, your sound is good now. We're going to talk about that.
Are we here to test my mic worked?
Yeah,
we're going to do mic work. Good. You sound amazing.
Awesome.
So what do you reckon, Kim, of my quick summary of the plugins to help you with your speed?
Okay. I'm really here to listen to you guys on speed because I'm horrible on speed and I'm just learning. So I was like really happy.
Speed. Where's my coffee? I got tons of
what
coffee.
You guys were helping me with. I do love the WP Optimize, and I agree though.
Yeah, I do.
Have a backup. In a former life, I was a database administrator. So I'm always like, back up that dang database before you touch it, because I've blown up more Oracle databases in my life than I could even name. But it does a great job, because what people don't pay attention to, and I would say one of the beauties of WordPress is you don't have to be super technical to use it and to learn it. And one of the downfalls is people sometimes don't talk enough about what's going on in that underlying database. And that does need to be optimized over time. If you've got a site that's growing and things are adding and comments are being deleted, that needs to be optimized. And so I do like the WP Optimize.
I mostly use it for, unfortunately I found if you've got a really ropey plugin that really slows it down, it's normally also the removal elements haven't really been that well coded either. So it tends to leave crud behind. So you've been hammered twice for your Miss Mamida for actually installing it. Do you agree with that, Kim?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, those plugins are, what I teach my students is, they're a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
It's a great plugin. They extend it to where we can do beautiful things, but sometimes they can bring us to a screeching halt at the same time. And then, like you said, the frightening thing is it's not even always as easy as just deleting it.
No, it's because normally the bad ones are normally not. But what you got to remember is that if you had to hire and get that kind of coding done, customized coding from experienced US-based coder, your eyes are going to walk. Most people A, couldn't afford it, and B, to say they would have a bit of sticker shock would be an understatement. And people just don't realise what a bargain a lot of WordPress plugins, the commercial plugins, are, and what a bargain WordPress is compared to other content management systems. If you wanted development or to build something, really, they're getting a bargain, really, aren't they?
Well, it's a double-edged sword in that, yes, they're absolutely getting a bargain, and it's beautiful. It's also, though, even with great developers that might be awesome PHP guys, doesn't always mean they, one, understand WordPress. You mentioned that earlier, Jonathan. Yeah. Like they know PHP, but then they don't know WordPress, and they build something that doesn't work. Or sometimes they're great. I see this a lot with theme developers. They might be great PHP people, but they don't understand what the underlying structure should be for SEO. Okay. And I'm not an SEO guru. I'm not at all, but I do know that you should not have 7 H1s on a page.
Right. We talk about
we get themes, right? And they've got every single widget is an H1, and you've got all of a sudden 20 H1s. It's like, no. I don't understand SEO, but I do understand. I was an English teacher. It's like a term paper. We have one H1, and then we have the littles underneath it.
Can I tell you?
Yes.
Can I tell you the realities of SEO? Actually, really top SEO people, and I know a couple that really are.
We've got one in town, MA and Matt in English.
I'm talking about really, really top people. I was talking. Funny enough, he was on Moss. Funny enough, he was on Blab today. Forgot his first name though, but he's the head of Moss in Seattle. And he was on, and he is a top expert. I know a couple really top people. What they work for Fortune 500 companies, and they're getting paid over $250,000 a year, right? And most of the people that you and I meet, the so-called SEO experts, the real SEO experts I know, not always, but most of them, they're working for some major company and they're earning major money. And a lot of the so-called, not all of them, because it's a sweeping statement, but there's a lot. I know a lot about SEO, but I don't call myself it, because the expert can do the stuff, can get a result. Right. And I know all the theory, and I've done a lot of it. But it's only when you're working on a project of your own or with a client that's got the foresight to invest the time and money in proper SEO, as I call it, that you can judge that you really do know. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg. But I know no area where so much rubbish is spoken about, apart from politics.
I absolutely, you know what? I think that's true. I absolutely agree. Other than politics, SEO is, but what I'm saying is I don't know SEO. But I do follow Moz, and I know that they talk about, before you even get to SEO, there is a website structure we need to have. And that's my point.
Right.
This is Moz stuff, I follow. I don't know SEO. I don't write for SEO. I write for myself and my tribe. But if we're having to have this thing and go, this is the website structure we should have, and being that I was an English teacher and I liked what term papers should look like, I get that. When, the SEO people say this, we should not have 5 H1s on a page. And Google will tell you, Matt Cutts will tell you, you should not have 5 H1s on a page. Yeah. So we shouldn't have themes that have 5, 10 H1s on a page. That's what I'm saying is it's not just about looking good we have to get into the structure and dig deep and make sure that we're giving people good stuff.
I'm into saying this. There's part of me that just want to say this, Kim, but the wizard is correct. Basically, that's one of the strengths of Genesis is that Genesis framework and a child theme based on it. The fundamentals of SEO are pretty rock solid. You're not going to end up with a theme that's got like 5 H1s on it or some other crazy bit of dog SEO. That's one of the attractions of the Genesis frameworks when it comes to that. So
it's been really good for me. Hey, as we finish up, we got to start another show in 4 minutes, and that's you can come and laugh. It's our real estate show, which I'm actually a broker 25 years, even though I'm not really practicing broker. But Kim, I've got to ask you, and I really appreciate you coming on today, and we're going to definitely coordinate and have you on as the guest for next month's show about creating online training, the different ways to do it. I think that's really important for both Jonathan and I right now with what we're doing. So, but we got to ask you, what are your websites and the name of your business?
All right. So the one that is just got put back under maintenance because we just changed everything is White Glove Web Training. Normally I show up in a white tuxedo shirt. You saw that, Jonathan, at WordCamp Las Vegas. I'm White Glove Web Training. And I also have howtobuildanonlinecourse.com because that's really my passion right now.
I like that domain name, howtobuildanonlinecourse.com.
Yes, sir.
Not bad. Did that cost you a fair bit of money, or did you get that in the early days?
I got that at the $8.99 price.
Oh,
wow!
Oh my God.
Well, that's $8.99 if you have
a bargain, wouldn't it?
You can't get it unless you have a reduced cost, $8.99 now. You can't get websites for $8.99 unless you have like a membership.
I do that GoDaddy bulk domain thing because I'm one of those crazy people who buys like I don't know how many domains.
You know what I did? That's a good way to finish. I want to tell everybody what I did this week. It really screwed me up. I had so much to do. I'm supposed to be working on my courses. I have a bulk domain like you do, and it's like $8.32 or whatever. But you pay $100 a year to maintain that. So I said, why don't I take this money, and I'll start having my own domain company. Mm-hmm. So I said, this shouldn't be too hard and build a website. I just bought my own first domain for my own company. But what a pain to set it up and get it going and get it right. You got to build a skin. You got to overlay it. And I have support. So, and I said, I'll just charge like $1.50 more than it costs me. So I'm $9.99 right now. And it's about the same core value. By the way, when you buy that GoDaddy, that's about what GoDaddy's cost them, that $8.32.
Right.
With everything they do, they have to pay quite a bit to even buy and maintain those domains. But anyway, so that's my latest venture. It took me a lot more time than I thought. Jonathan, didn't you know about that, right? My theory is $9.99.
Keep talking of getting your product, and then you keep, I don't know what you're up to, Bill.
I had such a long
I have no idea what you're up to. I thought I was skizzish.
We got to talk about Jonathan one more time so we go to another show. I tell Jonathan, we have something called 1MC. It's out of Kansas City. It's 1 million cups. And we have a really good 1 million cups in Reno, Nevada. I said, Jonathan, you're on the 14th. I said, you're going to be there. I'll come down and watch you at 1MC. I used to go all the time. And he said, no, I'm not. No, it's like 20 something. I'm not then. So no, I think you were on. I said, I can't find it, but I saw somewhere where you're on. And then out of the middle of nowhere, he has to run down from Carson City to Reno.
I got down.
You did a good job, by the
way.
I
got down there in 20 minutes.
I know. And then they had somebody blab between you. I watch it remotely. That's 1MC Reno. You can Google it.
Actually,
you did a great job. And you had the one lady. You give your presentation, and they troubleshoot you. And one lady said you said some word a couple times. That's the only.
I do say it.
Basic. You shouldn't say basic, but that's the only criticism I had. And you really came out strong at the end, and you talked about the podcast. Very important.
Yeah, that's great. But I just want to finish off about Las Vegas WordCamp. I thought it was excellent. What did you think, Kim? I thought it was well run, and the quality of the speakers, including yourself, were generally really good. And I thought it had a really good buzz to it. What was your feelings about it?
I loved it. And I appreciate you saying that about me. Thank you. I was so blown away because, here I fly in from Florida. I didn't know what to expect. It was amazing. It was beautifully run. What a great space.
Yeah.
It was just It really was one of these. I've been to a lot of word camps and I love every word camp. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. And my one thing with word camps is I came out of high tech when we were doing like big shows, in Vegas, and, I was with IBM and stuff. So I always love word camps, but that one was just really special. I thought all the speakers were fantastic. I thought it was run, like you said, beautifully. I was so shocked to find out it was just 2 guys that did it.
No, the team.
Like the one guy had dropped out and 2 guys picked it up. And I'm like, I'm used to WordCamp Miami. I'm from Florida. We got a team of people doing this. And it was just like 2 guys doing it. Brilliant. Absolutely. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think we provided some value, Bill, shall we say?
It's a fun show. You know what? I'm writing
guys.
I'm going to join us for Mail, right? I'm going to join us for Mail,
so
right?
Everyone say goodbye, and check out Mail, right? We talk about real estate, get rich in real estate. No, that's not what it's about. It's actually about for real estate agents and what they might do. And we'd love to have some tech folks.
It's tech based,
their ideas.
Kim. It's very techy, so.
Okay.
Yeah, big believer in blogs. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Thank
you for coming on, Jonathan. Thank you for coming on.
What, me? Him, you mean?
No, Jonathan. I just joking.
Oh God! Oh God!